In this installment, we're going to be going over the NBA bet slate for Tuesday, April 9th. Let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Chef D, and I'm here to bring you the winning ingredients for our Tuesday NBA bet slate we got going on April 9th. But before I deep dive into that, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MetsNetsJetsD. Don't forget about that TikTok at Chef_D91. And don't forget about that Patreon. Right now, we are currently at the homepage of the YouTube, currently at 3.47 thousand subscribers. We are moving quickly and fast. Continue to pour in the abundance. I appreciate everyone that is joining the community that we're building. If you're already subscribed, continue to like and comment. That helps the YouTube algorithm. If you're not subscribed, you're missing out. I'm telling you right now. Great community in that comment section, and the awesome community in the Patreon as well. So if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now. Also, for the Patreon, I have dropped the NBA Finals futures. So even more incentive if you want to just sign up just to know what the futures are for this month for the NBA Finals. That is provided in that Patreon link already. Let's get into the slate. First game up for Tuesday, we have the Detroit Pistons here, currently 13-65, going up against the Philadelphia 76ers, 44-35. Looking at the current odds right now, you can get the Philadelphia 76ers home favorites, big home favorites at a minus 1,400 on the money line, with the comeback of the Pistons at a plus 750. The total right now is at a 219.5, and the spread is set at 13.5. So pretty big spread here with the Philadelphia 76ers. For the injury report, we're going to get more clarification closer to Tuesday, but as of right now, all these guys are questionable. Okay, Evan Fournier, Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham, and Simone Fontecchio, something like that. We're going to figure out his last name. But all these guys are questionable for the Detroit Pistons. Same goes for the Philadelphia 76ers. This is not a back-to-back, so these teams all have rest because there's no basketball on Monday. So Joel Embiid is probably going to be probable in this game. But Kyle Lowry, questionable. Tobias Harris, knee contusion, questionable. All right, these two teams have already played 3 times. And all those games went towards the 76ers. The totals of those games were 220, 240, and 216. Majority of those games are over the current total right now at 219.5. So what we're going to be going towards here, easy bet here, Philadelphia 76ers. I love them, obviously, to win the game. I'm going to give out Philadelphia 76ers minus 9.5. If you want to take that 13.5, fine, be my guest. I probably expect this team to win by 20. So you can get a little bit aggressive on the spread line and bump it up and get some plus money. If you're really confident, take 76ers minus 19.5. I'll definitely agree to that one here. This is a motivated 76ers team. They are red hot. If we get Embiid and Maxey in the lineup for this game on Tuesday, look at the 76ers now. They were in that 8 spot, but now they have passed Miami Heat. They're a game behind the Indianapolis Pacers. They are in prime position to grab that 6 spot and have a matchup in the playoffs against the Orlando Magic. So that is what they're aiming for, getting a nice cupcake matchup versus the Orlando Magic that are young, that don't score at a high clip, but the 76ers score at a very high clip and play just as good as defense. So this is setting up very well for the Philadelphia 76ers here. Give me them to cover the spread. I'm going to post minus 9.5, and we're going to go towards the over 219.5. If we're looking at away favorites, the over-under is 16 to 13 towards the over for the 76ers. As away dogs, the Detroit Pistons are 22-16 towards the over. That's why we're going to be taking the over 219.5 as well. Next game up, we have the Dallas Mavericks, currently 48-30, going against the Charlotte Hornets, 19-59 here. Dallas Mavericks, highly motivated team here, fighting to stay at that number 5 spot and hopefully trying to creep up to that 4 spot in the playoff seeding for the Western Conference. Looking at the odds right now, you can get the Dallas Mavericks as road favorites, minus 500 on the money line, with the comeback of the Charlotte Hornets at a plus 360. The total right now is at 219.5, and the spread is at 9.5 for both sides. All right. Injury report as for right now, Josh Green is currently questionable. Everyone's pretty much healthy for the Charlotte Hornets. All right. Mavericks have been playing phenomenally, as like I said, because they are looking at the standings here, and they see themselves with the Suns right behind them, 2 games behind, and they are 2 games behind the Clippers. So they want to make sure that they do not fall to that 6 spot. They want to stay at that 5, or if anything, best case scenario, move up to the 4. All right. So looking at this line here, well, looking at these 2 teams, they already played earlier in the season. That was a Mavericks win by 6 points, and the total in that game was 242 points. The current total right now is at 219.5. I'm already loving the over. If we're looking at against the spread numbers, the Charlotte Hornets as home dogs, they are 19-16 towards the over. For the Mavericks as away favorites, they are 11-10 towards the over. So we're going to be going with the over here of 219.5 for the spread, all right? Because we want to avoid this money line. Minus 500 could be a parlay piece that you can use and do like a 3-game parlay, but we're going to go with the odds here, a single bet. Give me the minus 9.5 of the Dallas Mavericks. Get that now before it gets bigger. Mavericks are one of the best teams in the league away, as away favorites. Listen to this stat. They are 17-4 against the spread. 17-4 against the spread. Highly motivated spot here. Going against a poor team in the Charlotte Hornets. Give me the Mavericks to cover 9.5. Give me the over 219.5 as well. Next game up, we have the Indianapolis Pacers, currently 45-34, going up against the Toronto Raptors, 25-53. Looking at the current odds right now, you can get the Pacers on the money line at a minus 320, with the comeback of the Toronto Raptors at a plus 260. The current total right now is at 239.5, very high total here, and the spread is at 7.5. It opened up at 6.5. It's been bumped up a point here for the Indianapolis Pacers. Injury report, no injuries as of right now for the Toronto Raptors. We're waiting on news about Grady Dick. He left the game previously. That was against the Washington Wizards. He left that game with a groin issue. You can take that with a grain of salt, pun intended. So for the Pacers here, they are obviously in a motivated situation. They have the Philadelphia 76ers right on their tails. Okay, they have been playing better basketball, winning 3 out of the last 5 games. For the Raptors, they are on a 2-game winning streak. They beat Milwaukee and then beat the Washington Wizards, and they've been putting up points. So I'm very curious with this last stretch run here for the Raptors. Are they going to play more inspired ball with Quickly and RJ Barrett back? These 2 teams have already played 3 times already. So far, the season series is going towards the Toronto Raptors. They have the number. The total so far is 263 in the first game, 252 in the second game, 252 in the third, and this is the 4th and final matchup between these 2 teams. All right. So for the over-under, I understand it's been trending towards the over, but I'm going to go with the numbers here. As away favorites, the Pacers are 3-9 towards the under, and as home dogs, the Toronto Raptors are 9-13 towards the under. So I'm going to be going with that, with those stats there, and trusting that hey, they can score a lot of points here. This total is almost 240. I'm going to be taking the under in points. I think this might be a more competitive game environment here. I expect a little more competition from the Toronto Raptors, which we've seen against Washington, where all the guys quickly stepped up. RJ Barrett stepped up, Gary Trent Jr. They got plenty of guys that can compete with the Indianapolis Pacers and cover this spread. So that's what I'm leaning towards. So give me the Toronto Raptors plus 7.5 at home. I do think Pacers do get this win, but I'm going with the best odds here. Give me the points plus 7.5 and give me the under 239.5. Next game up, we have the Miami Heat here, 43-35, going against a division opponent here, Atlanta Hawks, 36-42. Looking at the current odds, we have the Miami Heat as road favorites here, -135 on the money line with the comeback of the Atlanta Hawks at a +115. The total currently is at 221.5, and the spread is at 2.5 for both sides here. Injury report, clean bill of health for Miami Heat and Atlanta Hawks. The last 5 for the Miami Heat, red hot, all right, winning 4 out of their last 5 games, but a crucial loss. They had a crucial loss against the 76ers. I'll show you why in a second. And the Hawks, they're playing for the play-in, but they are on a 2-game losing streak right now. If we're looking at the standings, here, it's pretty much that they're solidified at that 10 spot. They could move up to the 9, but I believe that Chicago is going to win that 9 spot and have the home field advantage when they do the play-in. So not really a motivated spot for Atlanta, kind of. There's more motivation on the Miami side. They just made a crucial mistake, lost to the 76ers, and now they are a half game behind the 76ers, and they're in need to catch up, because what's looking at them is a first-round matchup against the Boston Celtics. So this is in must-win mode here for the Miami Heat here. Looking at the 3 games in the regular season between the Heat and the Hawks, it's 2-1 towards the Heat. The totals in those games were 226, 235, and 217. The current total right now is set at 221. All right. But what I'm going to be going towards, the under total of 221.5. I'm going to be going with the team that's going to be dictating pace. That is the Miami Heat. And as away favorites, they are 5-10 towards the under. All right, 5-10 towards the under in games that they're away favorites in. For against the spread numbers here, we have one of the bottom feeders in the team, Atlanta Hawks, as home dogs. They're 4-8. So we're going to be going with, you could just take the money line. So Miami Heat, we're going to take the money line at a -135. If you want to take the spread, fine. I have no problem with that at all. Just give me the win. And we're going to take the under 221.5. This is a must-win spot for the Miami Heat. Next up, we have a marquee matchup. Boston Celtics, 62-16, going up against the Milwaukee Bucks in a whirlwind, tailspin. They're in a tsunami right now, downturn. Milwaukee Bucks, 47-31. Looking at the odds right now, Milwaukee Bucks, this is a pick'em game, all right? As you can see right there, -110 for both sides, 1.5 spread for both sides. The total is set at 228.5, all right? For the injury report, all right, we're waiting on news for Jason Tatum. He's currently questionable, and we're waiting on news about Chris Middleton. He left the game previously. He's questionable, and Pat Bev is questionable as well. We have 2 teams here in opposite directions. Celtics are red hot, winning 4 straight in a row, and the Bucks have lost 4 straight, and now they're in a position where Orlando Magic are right behind them. They're a game behind there, and the Bucks could lose that 2 spot. If they do not wake up from the slumber that they're in. And the last 3 games here against the Bucks, the season series is 2-1 towards the Celtics. The totals in these games are 235, 237, 241. All right, one of those games being a blowout, the other games being very close. All right, so I expect a high-scoring environment here, and all those totals were higher than the total that they're giving me right now at 228.5. I expect tons of offense in this game, up and down type of environment. So give me the over 228.5. But the key ingredient here, what are we going to choose? Who's going to win? Maybe I'm a glutton for punishment, but I'm going to go back to the well here. Give me the Milwaukee Bucks to get this must-win game. They are struggling right now. This is a desperate win in a time where you don't expect them to win. Everyone is fully against the Milwaukee Bucks right now. So I'm going to stay on that bandwagon. As you can see, 74% matchup predictor, 74% towards the Celtics. I'm going to be on that 25% side, all right? All right, give me the Milwaukee Bucks to win and give me the over 228.5. Next up, we have the New York Knicks, who are currently 46-32, going up against the Chicago Bulls, 37-41. Looking at the current odds here, Knicks on the money line, they are road favorites here, -130, with the comeback of the Chicago Bulls at a +110. The current total right now is at 213.5. It is falling. It opened up at 218. It has dropped 5 points, and the spread is at 2.5. For the injury report here, Julius Randle's going to be out for the year. And Alex Caruso, he's currently questionable with his injury. These two teams have just played, actually, and this was a couple days ago. That was an 8-point win by the Chicago Bulls in Chicago here. That was the Knicks getting caught off guard on a second game of a back-to-back. I foresee them being a little bit more ready for this situation, obviously, because there's no games on Monday. They will be rested for this matchup here. I'm going to be going with the Knicks on the money line at -130, and I'm going to be taking the under 213.5. I hope I could get it at a sooner time. Maybe it's different on some other books. Maybe you can still catch a 214 maybe on some other books. But right now for ESPN Bet, it is falling down to 213.5. I would stop once it gets to the 210 range. But as of right now, still take the under 213. Next game up, we have the Orlando Magic, who are currently 46-32, going up against the Houston Rockets, 38-40. Looking at the current odds right now, you can get the Magic on the money line at -135, with the comeback of the Houston Rockets at a +110. Point spread is at a 2.5 for both sides, and the total is set at 213.5. Full game public bet percentage here, 62% of the bets going towards Orlando, but 69% of the money going towards Houston. For the point spread, 68% of the bets and money towards the Orlando Magic to cover the 2.5, and the total 95% of the bets, 96% of the money towards the over 213.5. For the injury report, we do have some news for the Orlando Magic. Jonathan Isaac is currently questionable, and Franz Wagner is currently questionable. He pops up on the injury report. For the Houston Rockets, we're waiting on news for Jae'Sean Tate. He is questionable. All right, now this Houston Rockets team here has been eliminated from the play-in. They are officially out. All right, so they're pretty much playing for nothing right now. They've already faced this team here in the Orlando Magic earlier in the season. That total was 202 points. That was a blowout win by Orlando. All right, and as you can see, Houston Rockets have faltered after their long win streak. They are on a 5-game losing streak. Orlando Magic are pretty hot right now, winning 4 out of the last 5 games. If we're looking at the standings here for the Eastern Conference, they are tied with the New York Knicks. So this is head-to-head here. This is a must-win spot to keep pace ahead of the Knicks, and so they can keep that number 3 spot there. So what we're going to be going with here, we're going with a full sweep across the board. Give me the Orlando Magic money line. If you want to take that spread, fine, be my guest, but I'm going to avoid that. And for the total, give me the under 213.5. It easily hit in the first matchup, but just looking at how the Magic team plays, I expect them to control plays. As away favorites, it is 5-6 towards the under. All right, so I'm going to be leaning towards the under in that game. Next game, we have a Washington Wizards 15-64 going up against the Minnesota Timberwolves here, 54-24. Looking at the current odds here, big favorites, home favorites here in the Minnesota Timberwolves at a -1600, with the comeback of the Washington Wizards at a +900. The point spread is at 16.5, and the total is at 222.5. For the public bet percentage, we have 94% of the bets and 66% of the money towards Minnesota to win. For the point spread, 87% of the bets, 88% of the money towards Washington to cover. And for the total, 94% of the bets, 93% of the money towards the over 222.5. All right, the injury report for the Washington Wizards. All those guys are questionable. Let me go back to that really quick. All those guys are questionable between Kyle Kuzma, Anthony Gill, and Johnny Davis. They're going to be questionable for that game on Tuesday. For the Minnesota Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns is trying to work his way back to hopefully get a game or two in before the season ends, but there is speculation that he should be ready for the playoffs, but he's not back yet. All right. These two teams have already played earlier in the season. That was a 11-point win by the Minnesota Timberwolves. That total in that game was 225 points. We have the current total set right now at 222.5. So it's very close right there. If we're looking at against the spread numbers, as road dogs, the Washington Wizards are 21-16 this season. So the numbers right there are telling me to take that 16.5. I like them anyway. I like what they've been doing in the past couple games, playing the Toronto Raptors close, the Portland Trailblazers, and the Lakers close, and actually winning against the Milwaukee Bucks. So they've been playing a little bit better basketball here, at least not getting blown out every single game. So this spread number is really solidified here. I'm going to be going with the plus 16.5 for the Wizards. For the over under in this matchup, I do expect Minnesota to hold the pace. And as home favorites, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 14-19 towards the under. So I'm going to go under 222.5, but I like the Wizards to cover the 16.5 points. Next game up, we have the Sacramento Kings, 45-33, going up against the Oklahoma City Thunder, 53-25. Looking at the current odds, we have the Thunder on the money line at a -165, with the comeback of the road dogs here, and the Kings at a +135. The point spread is set at a 3.5, and the total is set at 228.5. For the public bet percentage here, we have 81% of the bets, 90% of the money towards the Thunder. For the point spread, we have 60% of the bets and 69% of the money towards the Kings. And for the total, we have 91% of the bets, 87% of the money towards the over 228.5. For the injury report here, Malik Monk, Kevin Huerter still out for the year. Oklahoma City Thunder, these three key guys are all questionable. Gordon Hayward, questionable. Jalen Williams, questionable. And SGA, questionable. You got to pay attention to news. I provide you that link down below for RotoWire so you can stay up to date with the injury ins and outs, okay? These two teams have already played 3 times already. Right now, Thunder trailed the series 2-1. All right, so a little bit, they have the opportunity to tie this series at 2-2. This is their 4th and final matchup. The totals in the 3 games have been 203, 251, and 240. Okay, so where I'm going to be leaning in this one, if we're looking at against the spread numbers, looking at the over/under, we have 14-15. The Thunder as home favorites, 14-15 towards the under. As road dogs, the Kings are 8-13 towards the under. All right, so we're going to be going with under 228.5. I get it how they priced this current total right here because of the last 2 matchups, but I think they fall under this number. And for the winner, give me the Thunder to tie this series. I like the Thunder on the money line, and I like Thunder to cover actually as well. That 3.5. So clean sweep right there. Thunder money line, Thunder spread, and under 228.5. Next game up, we have the San Antonio Spurs, 19-59, going up against the Memphis Grizzlies, 27-51. We have road favorites here in the San Antonio Spurs on the money line at a -140, with the comeback of the Memphis Grizzlies at a +115. The current spread is at a 2.5, and the total is at 214.5. For the public bet percentage, we have 59% of the bets, 68% of the money towards the Spurs. For the point spread, we have 2.5. The 2.5 spread here, 55% of the bets, 53% of the money towards the Spurs to cover. And for the total, we have 91% of the bets, 92% of the money towards the over 214.5. For the injury report here, we're waiting on news about Keldon Johnson. He left the game prematurely. And then Cedi Osman, both of those guys are questionable. Devin Vassell is out for the year, so don't worry about him. For the Memphis Grizzlies, Lamar Stevens, Jake LaRavia, and Luke Kennard, all questionable for this game on Tuesday. All right, these two teams have already played 3 times already. Each game, the Grizzlies won. Okay, so 3-0 against the Spurs here. Triple revenge spot for the San Antonio Spurs. Those totals were 228, 204, and 206. All right, so a lot of unders there. So what we're going to be going with here, we're going to stay with the hot hand. I've been telling you about Victor Wembanyama being super motivated here and closing out this season. He might get a triple-double coming up, all right, very soon. So loving the San Antonio Spurs on the money line. Love San Antonio Spurs to cover. And we're going to go under this number. We're going against the public there. Under 214.5. We had two totals already at 204, 206. I expect this game to go under just as well here. Next game up, we have the Denver Nuggets 54-24 going up against the Utah Jazz 29-49. For the odds, the Denver Nuggets are road favorites here at minus 1,100 with the comeback of the Utah Jazz at a plus 675. The point spread is at a 13.5 and the total is at 224.5. All right, for the public bet percentage here, 95 of the bets and 86% of the money here towards Denver Nuggets on the money line. For the point spread, 56% of the bets, 61% of the money towards the Nuggets to cover. And then for the total, 94% of the bets, 93% of the money towards the over 224.5. All right, Denver Nuggets. Aaron Gordon missed the game prior. He is currently questionable. For the Utah Jazz, John Collins, Walker Kessler, Chris Dunn, all those guys sat in the previous game. They're all going to be questionable for Tuesday. No confirmation yet. So majority of these games, you have to wait on news and see if they're going to practice on Tuesday morning. And then you get a better idea if they're going to play Tuesday night. All right. So these two teams have already played 3 times already. Denver Nuggets have beaten them twice out of the 3 times. Okay. The totals in those games were 212, 235, and 263. Okay. So obviously, Utah Jazz, they've given up. They got a ton of injuries. They are on a big losing streak as well. But the positive point is they are at least putting up over 100 points in each and every game. That's what I wanted to see. Can they still be able to score with all these guys out? All right. On the other hand, Denver Nuggets are at the top, sharing that 1-2 spot with the Timberwolves. So they're still motivated. They still want that number 1 seed there. We're going to be going with the Denver Nuggets to cover this spread at 9.5. You can take 13.5 if you want to, but I like to keep it safe. Give me the 9.5 for the Denver Nuggets, and we're gonna go with the over 224.5. Denver Nuggets can put up points in bunches, of course, and I like what Utah Jazz have been doing in the last couple games without majority of their starters, still putting up well over 100 points. So we're gonna be going with the over and the Nuggets minus 9.5. Next game up, we have the Golden State Warriors 43-35 going up against the LA Lakers 45-34. Crucial game here. If you're looking at the playoff standings for the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, this is the 9 and 10 spot here. Lakers do have a nice little cushion there with a 1.5 game cushion over the Warriors. So this is a must-win spot. All right, it's going to be a very hungry spot for the Golden State Warriors. Looking at the line, Lakers are at home minus 135 with the comeback on the Warriors at a plus 110. The point spread is at a 2.5 and the total is set at 232.5. All right, for the public bet percentage, 68% of the bets. And 68% of the bets towards the Lakers, 64% of the money towards the Warriors. So people are split on this. More money on the Warriors, more tickets, more bets on the Lakers. All right. For the point spread, it's split down the middle pretty much, 50-50 on bets and money. And for the total, 93% of the bets, 93% of the money towards the over 232.5. All right. For the injury report, gotta wait on news. Draymond, Stephen, Andrew Wiggins, same thing. Lakers, AD, LeBron, all these guys are questionable. AD in the last game left with an eye injury. We got to make sure he's okay. So stay tuned to news on all these guys, all right? For everyone, for both sides, crucial ins and outs in this very crucial game for the 9 and 10 spot, all right? So far the regular season series is 2-1 towards the Golden State Warriors. And the totals for the first 3 matchups were 289, 238, and 249. What I expect in this matchup here, I expect a ton of points, 100%, all right? So definitely love the total of 232 over. Going to be taking over 232 in this total here. For the winner, I'm going to be leaning towards the Lakers in this spot. Definitely wait on to news. I need AD in and I need LeBron James in. All right. And then I would be definitely taking the Lakers on the money line at home and tie the season series at 2-2. All right. So we're going to be going money line Lakers and the over 232. We have another playoff positioning matchup here. LA Clippers 50-28 going against the Phoenix Suns 46-32. Current standings right now between the Clippers and the Suns. This is the 4 and 6 spot here. Obviously, they cannot move up to the 4 spot, but the Phoenix Suns still have an opportunity to move up to the 5 spot. So, crucial game here. Looking at the odds, we have the Suns on the money line at a -160 with the comeback of the LA Clippers at a +135. The point spread is at a 3.5 on both sides, and the total is set at 224.5. For the public bet percentage, 75% of the bets and 93% of the money towards the Suns on the money line. For the point spread, 56% of the bets, 51% of the money towards the Clippers to cover. And for the total, 91% of the bets and 90% of the money towards the over 224.5. For the LA Clippers, we're waiting on the main player here, Kawhi Leonard. We're waiting on him. He's currently questionable. He's been missing the last 3 games. So we're not sure if they're going to continue to rest him or they're going to play him in this game, but the Clippers have responded and have been winning games without Kawhi Leonard. All right, for the Phoenix Suns, Damian Lee is still out. He's probably going to be out for a while with that knee injury, all right? For the regular season series, the Suns have not beaten the Clippers yet this year. They're down 2-0 to the Clippers so far this year. The totals in those games were 253 and 249. So big totals in those games. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to choose that in this particular spot here. All right. Clippers on a 3-game winning streak, and the Phoenix Suns had a surprising loss against the New Orleans Pelicans there and lost that game at home. So for the over-under, I'm going to be leaning towards the under. We're going to go against the public here. For the numbers here, 14-19 as home favorites, the Suns, 14-19 towards the under. All right, and the Clippers as road dogs are 5-6 towards the under. I expect a little more competitive game here, especially the fact they understand that this is a back-to-back. All right, they face them. They're going to face each other right after this game. So on April 9th and then April 10th. So literally back-to-back between the Suns and the Clippers. I like the under in this spot here. A lot of people are going to go towards the over. Look at the public right there, well over 90%. I'm going to be going with the under 224.5 and give me the Suns. Last but not least, we have the New Orleans Pelicans here, 46-32, going against the Portland Trailblazers, 21-57. Pelicans, road favorites here, -600 on the money line with the comeback of the Portland Trailblazers at a +425. The point spread is set at 10.5, and the total is set at 211.5. For the public bet percentage, 93% of the bets, 92% of the money towards the Pelicans. For the point spread, 61% of the bets, 70% of the money towards the Pelicans to cover. And for the total, 95% of the bets and 95% of the money towards the over 211.5. All right, for the injury news, the Pelicans, Brandon Ingram hopes to be back before the playoffs start. So maybe there might be a turnaround because this is the end of the season here. So wait on news about him. He's currently questionable. Najee Marshall is currently questionable. And for the Portland Trailblazers, Matisse Thybulle is questionable. Shaedon Sharpe is in the G League. And Tamani Kamara is out for the year. All right. These two teams have already played twice already. This is the third and final matchup. Both of those games going towards the Pelicans in those matchups. The totals have been 177 and 233. So definitely a wide spectrum there. The recent games, Pelicans have been struggling. They finally got a big win over Phoenix. And in Portland, they've been bad all year. But at least they got 2 wins against Charlotte and Washington. That's a positive. So where we're going to be leaning towards here, we're going to take the value, all right? I think the Pelicans are going to win, but that is no value there in the -600. I like the Portland Trailblazers to cover this number, all right? As against the spread, the Pelicans against the spread are 15-16 against the spread. And as away favorites, the Pelicans are 10-10. Nothing's really swaying me. Everything is in the middle there. I'm going to be taking the Portland Trailblazers because I do not trust the Pelicans. I get it. They had a strong win against the Phoenix Suns, but the games before that, they were having embarrassing losses, poor performances here. You think I'm going to trust them on the road against the Portland Trailblazers here? I get it. They suck, but the Portland Trailblazers against the spread numbers, if we're looking at that, if they're covering, they are currently as dogs. They're 36-34. All right. So over 500 in covering the number against the spread. So give me the points. I'll take it here. I'm not trusting the Pelicans with 10.5 points. I like that number there. And give me the over 211.5. I think that number is too low for this particular game environment here between these two teams. So that is going to be the breakdown for the Tuesday slate on April 9th. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Guys, let me know in that comment section down below if you have any other leans. Do you disagree or agree with me in certain games? Let me know down below. We could definitely debate about that. And I'll be back with another video very soon. All right. Peace out.